You know what? It is absolutely something that I've learned over time. One, knowing that you are the differentiator,
Hmm.
because you may have someone else who does something very similar to what you do. And in some cases, you may say, "Well, we're both leadership coaches, working with executive people in the tech space." But you are the thing that makes you different and your experiences and your background. And so the comparison, whatever you want to call it, like kill that. Don't compare yourself with what other people are doing.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Wynn, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7 and 8 figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Rexhen, and today's guest is Sherrika Sanders, a faith-driven mentor, author, speaker, and corporate leadership coach who equips ambitious working moms and wives to lead boldly without losing themselves in the process. After a successful 15 plus year career in corporate accounting, navigating mergers, acquisitions, IPOs, and organizational change, Sherrika experienced firsthand the burnout, self-doubt, and overwork that so many high-achieving women face. That journey inspired her to found Transform the GAAP. GAAP stands for Goals Aligned Achieving Purpose, where she helps women reclaim their identity, peace, and purpose while excelling in their careers. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Sherrika.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Regin. I'm excited to be here.
It's a pleasure for us to have you on, so thank you for coming. I wanted to ask you, when it comes to you starting your coaching business and becoming a coach before that, what inspired you to take that path?
Honestly, you kind of touched it a little bit in the introduction. It
Hmm.
was in a corporate space that I no longer felt fulfilled. I was great at what I did, but in the accounting space, but the fulfillment was gone. And I was really just trying to figure out what was it that was missing? What was my next step? I did not think it would be entrepreneurship. If anyone had asked, I would absolutely have told them I would never start my own business. I'm not a risk taker. Some people are meant to be in corporate. I am that person, like all the things. And yeah, here I am.
Cool. And so when going through the coaching journey with your clients, and right now looking at your LinkedIn account for Transform the Gap has been about 3 years, right?
Yes.
Since you started it. So when you're working with the client, and typically it's women, I remember, and going through the coaching journey with them, what about it do you find the most rewarding?
Those aha moments, which sometimes it may seem like you're just saying, having a natural conversation, but to the woman who's really looking for that transformation, who's really looking for to get out of that hole or that pit, honestly, of overwhelm, it's them having those aha moments and also realizing that they already have the tools, they already are equipped with what they need to get out of that space and move higher and get to their next level. But it's just helping them to get to that place, to find that place within themselves. And that honestly makes every day worth it.
And since we mentioned this in the intro, we're looking at women's either moms or wives. Can you dial in a little bit deeper into this ideal client profile that you typically work with?
Yeah.
Is it 100% only women, or could there also be men? Is there a specific industry? Is it only accounting, or is it beyond that? How do you find like the ideal client profile?
So, great question. It is 100% women. So, initially, when I first started, I was definitely catering to the accounting industry. So much so, transformed the gap, GAAP, while for my business, it means goals aligned, achieving purpose. Anyone in the accounting and finance space, if they see the term GAAP, or that acronym, they automatically know that it's an accounting something. GAAP is generally accepted accounting principles in the accounting space, and anyone in that space knows that term. And so that name, that part of that name was not only speaking to what I do, but also what I used to do in the corporate space. And so, yeah, initially it started out with just working with women in the accounting space. So honestly, my ideal client is who I was. The woman who's in accounting, who's successful on the outside, but struggling on the inside, trying to find her voice, trying to manage her time, trying to have some sort of work-life balance, feeling guilty when she takes a rest, not understanding that self-care isn't selfish. And so that's why it's catered to women and wives and mothers, but not so much those women in accounting anymore. And that honestly just came because a lot of the women who were reaching out to me were in various other industries. And we're all struggling with, they were all struggling with some of the same things, just it wasn't accounting related.
And how is the engagement of working with you for these women? If there's like a percentage of those that are watching, how would you describe the engagement? Is it like one-on-one coaching? There's a certain program of a certain length. How would you describe the engagement?
So there's one-on-one and group. I do offer one-on-one, but actually even starting in September, there's a 6-week group cohort. Generally, my cohorts, I keep them small so that everyone can still feel seen, can still feel heard, and still feel like they're receiving that one-on-one attention, so to speak. And even with this cohort, so using this as an example, it's open to 10 women. It's 6 weeks. We meet every week. There are opportunities to have a one-on-one in addition to this space, but we're really high touch, really focusing on the individual. And I keep it small just so I can do that. So I can put eyes on everyone in the room, in the virtual room, so to speak, so that I can put eyes on each one so that everyone has the opportunity to speak their piece, but also receive that feedback, that mentoring, that coaching that they desire. Because when we're in the larger rooms, someone can ask a question, the leader can ask a question, and you don't have to answer, and they don't know because you have maybe 4 or 5 people who are constantly talking. And so everyone else just kind of gets hidden. And I don't want that. I want to make sure that everyone feels like they are receiving the transformation that they came for.
Interesting. And so where do you typically find your clients in terms of like marketing channels? It goes back to the research that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Where do you find your clients?
Primarily LinkedIn. It's a corporate space. Prior to having my business, I wasn't even on any other platforms outside of LinkedIn. And then even so, it was just on LinkedIn to update like changes in my work history. But once I transitioned to entrepreneurship, I started to lean into LinkedIn more, posting more. So that's where I get the bulk of my engagement, the bulk of the people who are reaching out to me, who are wanting to connect. Second to that, I would probably say it was Instagram, but so I recently started a podcast that's catered to my clients. She leads boldly. And I'm also seeing a lot of women who are picking up the podcast or hearing the podcast, then going to either LinkedIn or Instagram to connect with me.
And do you like since you do have like an audience that is growing fully, and like for example in LinkedIn, is there a specific strategy that you're following to grow the audience?
Just consistency, honestly,
Mhm.
showing up consistently. Also, so my podcast as airs weekly. And so I also publish a clip from each week's episode onto LinkedIn. So there's that episode that's always there every Wednesday. And then there's, like right now I have my Lead Bowlig 6-week accelerator coming up. So, I'm putting that out there, but I also have like a monthly article that I publish that helps with, different tools and tips and tricks for the woman who is still in that space and trying to navigate different areas. I touch a few different spots, I guess I would say, on LinkedIn.
And do you have any specific goals like with the coaching business for the next 1 to 3 years that you're working towards?
I want to create a movement so often, or, continue to meet women and I understand them because I was in that space who feel muted. You're trying to do all the things, be everything for everybody, and you feel selfish or you feel inadequate or like you failed if, you're able to get to 8 things, but weren't able to get to the other 2 of your list of 10, or you were able to only focus on maybe one of those things and the other things you didn't make it to that day. And sometimes we toil and spend, long nights up all night trying to get all the things done. And so it's really just being able to help them know that it's okay. We're not perfect. we're not supposed to be. We're not meant to be. Just honestly being able to help other women see that transformation. And so, like right now, I have the 6 week accelerator, but I have future plans of creating a monthly membership or sisterhood, so to speak, where we can continue to support, uplift, encourage. You know, I'll provide, I'm not sure yet if I want to do it weekly or bi-weekly, but definitely provide like masterminds within that space, opportunities for one, they would be the first to receive any materials that I produce, books and things like that. So really just creating a sisterhood, a safe space where women can go and feel like, you know what, I haven't gotten what I need over here. And while I'm working on that, at least I know I can go to this community or this group and still get that support that I need, that encouragement that I need, because these women are also going through that same thing and I'm not out here alone. So it will be the monthly and then probably even having more consistent sweet cohorts as well.
And now, do you are you thinking of like continuously kind of growing in your audience, having more, since you said you're looking to make a movement? So I'm guessing you want to have more people in the future join to your program. How are you thinking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. More women to join my various programs and offerings. I had someone to reach out to me the other day and saying, "Hey, I just wanted to reach out and say, I really love your podcast. I listen every week. It's really it's always what I need in that moment," which was an amazing feeling. But being able to also build that space, and especially to see how it's something that started not even 4 months ago, but I went from being the only person, speaking on each episode to then I was like, okay, maybe I can have one person per month. Now, each week, I have different guests that are helping in specializing in areas of leadership or finances or time management or all of these different things. But the women who guest are women who are also have been in the same place as my clients and are able to, give additional help to pull them out, because I don't claim to know all the answers, but I'm connected to some amazing women who can help in those areas where, it may not be my area of expertise.
Interesting. And so right now, where are you seeing the challenges with doing so?
There's this thing that a lot of people talk about of like, know, and trust. I do believe there's some credibility to it. I think it increases though as you are consistent. But unfortunately, sometimes you don't know if that consistency is it really speaking to the person that I'm talking to,
Hmm.
so I think one of the things that I still have to adjust sometimes is how my messaging comes out, because I want to make sure it's speaking to the right person and, making sure that it's the person who's truly ready for transformation. Because sometimes people will say, "Oh, you know what? I love what you're saying and I could really use help in, time management," or "I'm really struggling about how to approach my manager for that next promotion. I don't know how to speak up for myself." They say those things and then it's like, "Oh, amazing. I can definitely help you with that." Or we have a call and then you go to move forward and they're like, "Well, I'm not really sure." And which, to be honest, for me, if they're still on the fence, then they're not the person for me, because I know that I'm looking for the person who's truly looking to make a change,
Hmm.
to truly transform, and is ready to take those scared steps. And so sometimes just making sure to identify that person versus the one who's still like, I've talked to 5 different coaches and I'm still going to talk to a few more and then maybe I'll figure it out. And
Hmm.
so I think that's the biggest part, just making sure I'm speaking to that specific woman and making sure that she understands the transformation that she will receive from our working together.
So basically, being able to reach to the ideal client profile and not the ones that are not really qualified to work with you or might not be interested or
Right.
are just like inquiring. So that is a good point. It is actually a challenge that a lot of coaches are facing. So I totally understand that. And now Also wanted to ask you, over time, when it comes to investments that you've made, what have been some good investments that you've made over time that you feel very good about? Either you learned a lot or you got a good return.
Mhm.
And what have been some investments that you don't feel so good about that you feel like, I should have avoided that one?
I did. I have done quite a bit of investing. I believe every mentor needs a mentor, every coach needs a coach, therapist needs all the things. You never stop learning, you never stop growing. I'll end with the good. So I'll say that one of the ones that I connected with the marketing, actually a couple of marketing coaches. One, it didn't really work out because I felt like her program was really cookie cutter. And what I do didn't really fit into her mold. And it was a lot of cold outreach, which actually turned some people away that I received emails like, I don't like this or whatever. So that wasn't the best fit because it wasn't some things can be a little bit cookie cutter, but you need to know when to adjust for your
Hmm.
specific client. And that didn't really happen. So that was one. And then another, it was a great program, but because it was such a low cost program, I was having to do a lot of work, a lot of extra work and spend a lot of time, additional hours, probably 5 hours a week, which doesn't sound like a lot. It is when you're not really expecting it and when you
Hmm.
thought you were paying for someone to kind of help you with that. So it was just a lot of extra time per week that I really didn't anticipate and I wasn't seeing any results from it. Because that's another thing. If I'm seeing results, then 5 hours is nothing. But I wasn't really seeing the results or the fruits of my labor, I guess I'll say.
Hmm.
Programs that worked. So there was one when I first started into entrepreneurship, which was called the 12% Accelerator, also catered to women, but it was on how to get corporate contracts and work with corporate clients, which is what I was doing when I initially started out. So it was a great program. They give you a lot of templates, provided a lot of tools. Um, you know, just so much, a lot of education. Honestly, it was self-led, but there were videos and different things there that just provided a lot of knowledge and insight. And so that one was really beneficial. And then there was one more recently called the Smart Mastermind. And I thought that one was pretty helpful and just really showing you how to reach your target client and your target audience.
These are like some of the good ones, right?
Yeah, the last two were some good ones, and there was another one, I couldn't remember the name of it, but that was also very similar, just saying how to write your post.
Hmm.
It was templates as well, and I think the base of that program was nice, but they gave you, like, 3 templates, and it's like, "Okay, write every post based on these 3 things," and it was like, "Well, I'm just repeating myself at this point." So it but the
Yeah.
foundation of what they were trying to do, I understood and appreciated it.
Cool. And so thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of that,
Mhm.
Sherrika. And thank you for coming to the podcast. Now, the final question that I have for you is, for other coaches who are listening, what advice would you give these coaches who are trying to scale their impact? Similar
You
to
know
you, you can think about this as an advice to yourself, basically.
You know what? It is absolutely something that I've learned over time. One, knowing that you are the differentiator,
Hmm.
because you may have someone else who does something very similar to what you do. And in some cases, you may say, "Well, we're both leadership coaches, working with executive people in the tech space, but you are the thing that makes you different and your experiences and your background." And so the comparison, whatever you want to call it, like kill that. Don't compare yourself with what other people are doing. And also sometimes you say, oh, well, maybe I should do what they're doing because it looks like they have a lot of clients or they have a large following. A large following doesn't equate to a lot of clients, number one. And then number two, you don't really know how long it took them to get to that point or some of the things that they may have gone through to get to that point. So don't try to say, oh, because they're doing this is what I should do too to make sure
Hmm.
I can, get what they get or be where they are. And so I think that's the main thing, just not comparing yourself with another person in your space or with their journey, and then intentional connections. I started out, I was going to all of the networking. Anytime anybody invited, sure, I'll come. And I wound up spending most of my days going to networking meetings, not really selling, not really, getting clients. And a lot of times it wasn't even with groups of people that either were my clients or could help me to reach my clients. And so I felt like it was a lot of time wasted. But
Hmm.
now someone invites me to a networking something. I want to, I'm asking what's it about? Who's the ideal audience and understanding, is this an audience where I can be of value to them, but also where they can be of value to me? So it's reciprocal.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sherrika. Thank you for sharing all of that. Thanks so much for coming to the podcast today. For anyone who wants to connect with you and find you, they can go into LinkedIn, look up Sherrika Sanders, MBA. They will be able to find you there. They can also go to the website,
Yes.
which is transformthegap.com. Now, when we
Yes.
say the gap, there's double A's, so is transformthegaap.com. Is there any other way we can have people reach out to you?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok, all under Sharika. So easy to find there. But I would encourage anyone, if you're interested in just finding out more about me, listen to She Leads Boldly. It's every Wednesday, all major platforms, and it may provide some encouragement that you need for that day or that whatever moment you're having in your life right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Sherrika. Yep. Thank you. And have a great rest of your day.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.